Okay, this is Pre-Calculus Chapter 4, learning how to graph exponential functions without a calculator. Dun dun dun! I know what you're thinking, it's probably going to be the hardest thing you've ever done, but it's actually going to probably be the easiest thing you've ever done, and it's going to blow your mind at how easy it is. So, in order to graph exponential functions, the first thing we have to do is memorize the parent graph. And the parent graph of an exponential function is pretty easy to remember. All you gotta remember is underneath the x part is going to be 0 and 1, and then underneath your b to the x part is going to be 1 and whatever b is. So let's try an example, shall we? We shall. Glad you're so enthused to do this. So we're going to graph y equals 5 to the x. So looking at our parent graph up here, we're going to have x, and underneath it is always 0 and 1. And then we know what our b is now, which is 5. So we're going to have 5 to the x, which is always going to be 1 and whatever b is, in this case 5. In case you forget 1 and b, which I doubt you will, you could always do 5 to the 0 power equals 1, and then 5 to the 1 power equals 5. Pretty simple. And then our horizontal asymptote is going to be y is greater than or equal to 0. And we'll get to the next example and I'll show you how the horizontal asymptote could change. So, to graph this, pretty simple. Obviously, you just graph 0, 1. So, you go over 0, up 1, dot right there. And then you go 1, 5. So, you're going to go right 1, up 5, dot right there. Then you're just going to draw your lines, connecting your dots. And then just make sure you never go below your horizontal asymptote. So your horizontal asymptote is 0. So this line is going to go out forever and ever and ever, but it's never going to go below the 0. And this line is going to go up forever and ever and ever. Okay, alright, well let's do another example. It's a little bit harder. We're going to be graphing y equals negative 2 times 3 to the x minus 1 power plus 7. Bear with me, you can do this. I know you can. So, we're just going to use our parent graph, which is x, and underneath x is always 0 and 1. And then our b to the x is 3 to the x. We're going to get to the x minus 1 part later. We'll just leave that out for now. So 3 to the x is 1 and 3. Obviously, with our horizontal asymptote being y is greater than or equal to 0. Simple enough, right? Well, how do you get to these points? Well, let's show. First, to get your x's, you're going to set whatever your power is, in this case our power is x minus 1, equal to your x's. So that's what I did down here. I have x minus 1 equals 0 and 1. X minus 1 equals 0 and 1. So you're going to add your 1 over to your 0 and get 1. Add your 1 over to your 1 and get 2. That's how you get your new x's, 1 and 2. Easy, right? Alright. Well, in order to get your new y's, all you're going to do is put your 1 and your 3 in for this whole thing right here. This whole 3 to the x minus 1. Don't just put it in for the x. Bad decision. Put it in for the whole thing. So that's what I did down here. I have negative 2, which is right here, times 1, which is this whole thing, plus 7. So negative 2 times 1, negative 2, plus 7 equals 5. That's how you get 5 right there. And then you're going to do the exact same thing for your 3. Negative 2 times 3 plus 7. Negative 2 times 3 is 6, plus 7 is 1. That's how you get your 1. Bing, bang, boom. Easy as that. And then, in order to get your new horizontal asymptote, see, this is pretty easy also. My sign flipped, see, it's greater than or equal to, and it flips to less than or equal to because of the negative sign in front of your whole function. So if you have a negative sign in front of your whole function, your horizontal asymptote sign is going to switch. And then how I got the 7 was that 7 is your constant, so that's why it's going to change to that. So pretty much whatever you have in the back of here behind your whole exponential function, that's what it's going to change to. So your new horizontal asymptote is y is less than or equal to 7. So in order to graph this, you just graph your horizontal asymptote first. So go up to 7, make a dotted line all the way across, so you know not to go above that, because y is less than or equal to. And then you're going to graph your points. So you have 1, 5, so you're going to go over 1, up 5, point, and then 2, 1. So right 2, up 1, dot it, and then you're going to connect these dots going down, and this is going to go down forever, and then this is going to go across forever, but never going above your 7. So I told you, it's pretty easy. Now you know how to graph exponential functions, and tomorrow we'll work on graphing logarithmic functions. Have a good day!